Hello everyone, Blue Star Saber here and once again here with another review of Star Wars Andor, Season 2, Episodes 10 to 12. Let's see, the final episodes of the second season of Andor and the final episodes overall of the show, if you will. So, which takes 1 year after the events of the last episodes, which featured the Gorman Massacre and Mon Mothma fleeing Coruscant. These episodes take just before the events of Rogue One. We are finally here, and we're going to find out what exactly these episodes do to lead up to the events of Andor season Rogue One, basically. And we'll find out what the fates of characters like Luthen Rail, Dedra Meero, and some of the other characters on Andor that we've come to know and love. So yeah. Anyway, the first episode is titled "Make It Stop," which I believe starts with Luthen Rail and his assistant here. Kayla. Kayla, who receive a red beacon, which leads to Lonnie. So, as he's got an emergency meeting, so Luthen Rail ends up going to see him, in which he ends up informing him that everything about the Emperor's energy thing is a lie. Wanting to get some help off of Coruscant, because he's just basically hacked into Dedra Meero's private files, made them leak, and she's already going to try. Looks like she's already going to try and find Luthen Rail, if you will. At least it seems like he seems to imply that, but he thinks that this is more important rather than finding out if that was confirmation, as he has found that the energy supply, let's see the stuff with Gorman, Jeddah with the Kyber crystals, and Scarif and all that stuff, all the little bits that don't seem to connect together actually do, and in fact that it's not really an energy power thing that the Emperor's doing, but building a new sort of super weapon, if you will. They don't Luthen gets as much info as he can, but he doesn't get the full confirmation that it's the Death Star, even though it's basically it. But he leaves, and we end up seeing a pass-by's Locat go quite close to him, and we learn that Lonnie has basically been killed just so Luthen can keep track. He orders Dedra Meero that they're preparing to leave. I mean, not Dedra Meero, sorry, Kayla, that they are going to leave. She wants to try, and that he's going to destroy all the communication stuff and all the sources back in their HQ, but in their museum, but or art collection, if you will. But she wants to do it herself, but he insists that he's the one to do it. So you've got Luthen sort of destroying his radios, contacts, and that stuff, but then. Hold on, let me find the image. Here we go. Dedra Meero is, outside the shop. He has to let her in and all that stuff. They end up having a little conversation about the art gallery a bit, about, if the stuff is authentic. On the thing, she then says that she's got a piece for him, and it's the sort of Imperial ship equipment that Andor would once try to sell to Luthen, and then that's where all games are gone. It's okay, she knows that he's basically accessed the spy that he's been trying to find. They have a sort of back and forth bit of conversation. She's disgusted by Luthen and the chaos he brings, but he's like, oh, I'm freedom and all that. Freedom and all that stuff, and the whole galaxy's ready to discuss you, if you will. He talks about how she's dreamt of this moment for ages, but then sees that Luthen's already started to sabotage all the information, tries to, at first, threaten to stun him, but he's already stabbed himself with a, relic that he showed before. One of the ones who said that is in question, though arguably this is probably Luthen preparing to stab himself, really. So, yeah, he's seemingly trying to kill himself with Dedra, Dedra Miro calling in the ISB forces that she has with her to like basically say that right, so you need to keep him alive and all that stuff. You have let's see Kayla, let's see, witnessing this all from outside, realizing what has happened. And during the course of the episode, we end up seeing sort of the origin story of Kayla and Luthen, where we learn that Luthen was a basically a let's see, former Imperial trooper or ground trooper. You know, those sort of things you saw in like Solo. He was like a sergeant. They're seemingly massacring Kayla's people, but he seems like completely horrified by what he's done. Spots Kayla inside in their ship, keeps her safe, and then throughout the episode we see the two traveling together. First, trying to do their first art bargaining thing of trying to sell a piece. With her covering as his like daughter and all that stuff, which she ends up asking if that is what she is, but when it needs to be. So, arguably, you've got this sort of like parental relationship, but not necessarily all the time, really. And you see throughout the years that when she's a little bit older, not older as a kid, trying to they're doing bargains, but at the moment they're also seeing some of the cruelty of the empires that get a few people being shot, apparently for like causing a scene of disruption. My understanding, it's like something about a what was it? Oh, I'm actually gonna take a quick look on the wiki to see if it I think the wiki would have it. Hold on. Urgent meeting, concentration and rest. Kayla's pass. Let's see. Oh yeah. Luthen Rae was called Luthen Law. Luthen Law was originally called Sergeant Lear, but anyway, let's see. 20 credits. All right. Oh yeah. Empire also leading a procession of Syrians involved in killing an Imperial soldier. So yeah. Let's see. They end up being, of course, shot. She ends up protesting how they can't seem to have done anything. But Luthen says that they are playing the long game, so they're going to lose a lot of small battles, but they're going to try and win the long game, if you will. Small defeats for long-term victories, if you will. And it eventually ends with like a sort of like meeting on Coruscant, if you meeting on Naboo, which I will admit, being a prequel fan, I always enjoy seeing Naboo, where they've got a bunch of Imperial ships in the background and there's some sort of bridge. Let's see, giving like with Luthen Rail having a trigger. Let's see, talking about whether or not she's prepared for this and that stuff, and it looks like she's not backing down. She tries to do the Britzy trigger after a bit of a debate, but particularly if Luthen's asking if she's ready to walk out, but he takes the trigger before she can do it and pressing, just seemingly testing her, but not yet ready to have her hand stained with blood as he sort of blows this up. This will come back later, but yeah, that's basically what you see in the flashback. Meanwhile, let's see an alarm I set. Let's ignore that. Meanwhile, the ISB agents, if you will, let's see, particularly this one here, let's see, Hart, who I haven't really shown an image of before, but was taking control of the Axis thing before Dedra Miro. It was a sort of day off when this all happened. Let's see, there was a meeting and it's been cancelled. I think Lager informed him Hart of this, and that Leo Parkas reveals that Dedra Miro has seemingly arrested Axis, but he's in critical injured. Let's see, Hart's not happy and he understands, and is sending Hart to take care of Dedra Miro, which we end up seeing Dedra Miro in the hospital sort of demanding that Luthen is taken care of, trying to ask for the whole room to be clear, much to the doctor's protesting, but she's saying that either you do it or we will do it, which is a bit of a threat, saying that they don't care if the patients are alive or dead, if you will. But she ends up getting arrested by Hart, who arrives, who is not like happy with who Ritzy feels that he, along with Leo Podcast, that they're not happy with the way she took without the permission. She tries to defend her actions, but nevertheless is taken away. Meanwhile, you have oops, hold on, let me just find it. Kayla here, sort of infiltrating the hospital as an injured patient, switching to a nurse's costume, using a one patient to take her up to the floor, if you will, as far as she could, and then setting off a bomb similar to what happened in the Naboo flashback I mentioned earlier, causing the attention of the Imperials to go away, where she ends up shooting at least one stormtrooper and one ISB agent, and that was in her way. And then destroys the life support system of Luthen here, and as he kisses him on the forehead, and as she walks away before the Imperials could catch her, we see the episode ends with Luthen Rail's death, if you will. So that sort of ends the episode, if you will, with Luthen Rail dead. Anyway, my overall thoughts. I will admit, this is probably overall. This is the first episode, as you probably can tell, that does not feature Andor at all, which is a bit surprising because the show is named Andor. But unlike the Book of Boba Fett, which had one episode without him and one episode where he's in a cameo, let's see, you're not exactly upset because, you've got at least 23 episodes with Andor. Granted, you might be upset that you only get now 4 episodes with K2SO, but yeah, let's see, which I initially was, but yeah, I think it ended up working because, you're basically focusing on, basically the character relationship of Luthen, Dedera, and Dedera. Dedera Miro here, and Kayla and their sort of relationships and all that stuff, and the adversary. I do like how we basically learn how Luthen probably ended up starting, and it's Kayla's been with him since the beginning of when he sort of started fighting against the Empire. He was actually initially an Imperial, which seems to be a story with many rebels where they're initially in the Empire or maybe even the Republic, but got deluded and horrified by the Empire's evil actions, and then started to rebel. But it's interesting because he was initially part of I guess Raffles, the massacre of her people, but he was guilty about it, but he wanted to at least make sure this one's safe. Take her along, being sort of mentor to him. You see how he began his sort of art collecting thing with the flashbacks and all that, and how he got into that business while also being a spy. But also how he sort of taught her to play the long game, which she was basically filled with rage against the Empire, but he knew it was not yet time to do so and all that stuff. But yeah, anyway, I do like how basically he's ready to when Lonnie here, who I do like how he's gone this revealed that he's had this sort of access to Dedra Miro's access security clearances and all that stuff, and I found that all the information she's tried to collect in the case of trying to get access, using it as only using it when the perfect time for bargain and all that stuff, but and using it for this very last moment when he was learned, oh, that's a super weapon, and that Dedra's actually now starting to come after, let's see, Luthen may actually know who he is. So he only does it for the last minute and tries to make sure. And arguably being a bit reckless, if you will, but not really playing what Luthen wants to do. But he's got like a family and he wants to make sure they're safe, especially when it comes to Yavin. But unfortunately for him, Luthen sees him a bit of a liability. In many ways, takes him out in a similar manner to how, let's see, Andor takes out that sort of, let's see, spy informant in the beginning of Rogue One, and in many ways showing just how similar, let's see, Luthen and Andor actually are, because it's like Luthen is basically Andor's mentor, if you will. So you have that. So the character, the spy, let's see, which it seems fitting that he was either going to be killed by Luthen when let's see, keep track of covers, or get caught in the ISB, which makes sense, and he's basically regarded as a traitor afterwards at leaked intel. But yeah, I do like how Luthen is like being the one that, like, okay, I must prepare to get everything out once let's see, choosing that he's going to be the one to do it, not Raph. Let's see, hold on, let me just get not let's see, hold on, let me just find it. Yeah, not Kayla, if you will. Arguably thinking that not sure if it's because even though she might be a bit more quicker, it's probably best that see if one of them's going to escape. Perhaps maybe it'll be her. I'm not sure if that's what he's thinking, or at the very least, he's prepared to die in case he's about to be caught. And I do like how he's like when he's talking to Dedra Miro and all that. Trying to, of course, appear as a regular art gallery, saying like, oh, it's authentic and all that stuff, or only two that may be questionable, and actually shows a dagger. But arguably, he's probably saying that he's probably doing this more of a long-term plan. It's like, okay, if she knows who I am, I've got a weapon ready to take myself out, if that's the case. And I love how when you get like the engine piece, it's like no longer, plays the sort of like, okay, fine. He's basically open that I've been basically, you've known you've heard about me, but I've known about you for the entire time, mocking her a little bit about her, mocking her words about how she disgusts him and saying that there's an entire galaxy now out there to do so and take his own life. But yeah, arguably this is probably the best way you could have ended this character. Destroying like whatever, finally getting the bits and pieces of like the Death Star, making sure that information is, alerted to rebels, but covering his tracks and taking himself out when he's caught. It's fitting for the character. So yeah. Anyway, I do like the other aspect of the episode is where basically with the character of Dedra Miro, who seems to finally moved on from, I guess, Cyril Khan's breakup and maybe death, if you will. But it's like she's finally found access. She's waited for this moment, for years, dreaming of it. She's finally ready. She wants to take the glory for herself, leaving out the fact that Hart is in the investigation, and it was basically his day off when he did it, and he's not happy about this, and even her mentor is not happy with what she's been doing. But she's waited for this moment. She's going to do it. Despite all her claims of not wanting it for the glory, this is what she's been building up to, and she's finally here. But by being reckless of being the only one to do so, and just having to glance that she's finally found him, showing the piece in front of her, instead of just immediately going to arrest him, if you will. Just basically wants to dream of the moment and how they interact, if you will. Unfortunately for her, allows Luthen to destroy the information and evidence they have in back at behind the art gallery, if you will, and then stab him. And due to the fact that she's gone off the books too many times in this, and possibly with some very dangerous leaked information, ends up arresting. So it's sort of like fitting there. Anyway, other than that, I do like how let me just get the episode, get the character. Oh yeah, Kayla here. Basically, is you learn her relationship. Basically, I've talked most about that already, but you learn how she's like put all the skills that Luthen has done with her, and how she's able to infiltrate the thing herself, but being into patient and the nurse, shooting Imperials that she needs to take care of before doing what was probably always going to be what she knows is prepared. Arguably, Luthen is probably the closest that she has to a father figure, even if they didn't always act like this. Sometimes even argue and debate of when to act, of like when to cover the spy and all that stuff. But you can clear that she's sad what she has to do, but knows that this is what Luthen would want and takes the life support. So you've got like her character doing what needs to be doing what needs to be done, and then ending the episode. Overall, I'd say this first episode of Andor, if you will, I'd say maybe the best one, maybe like 9 to 9.5 out of 10, if you will. It's a bit weird to have like one of the best episodes without the main character, but it goes to show sometimes when you don't have the main character and you get to focus on these other characters, you end up learning quite a lot of bit of them and have a bit of fun. But then you get excited when you see Andor again, which is in the next episode, of course. So that's the end of the first episode, if you will. So anyway, it's now on to the basically the let's see, second episode, which let me just let me jog my let's see, memory, if you will, a bit. Oh yeah. Basically, the episode basically begins with, I believe, the ISB, particularly, I think, if I recall, this character. Yeah. Let's see, Hart, if you will, I think, and a bunch of. Let's see, at the hospital where they're trying to learn about, the aftermath, all the people being, the place is blown, who's lost, arguing with like the director of the hospital about what's going on, if he's accusing of protesting about what's happened here, but then he like backs down once he threatens like let's see how he can like if accusing him of treason and arrest, if you will. And with all like those things that have gone on here with the staff and like the agents that have been killed, Hart says that they'll have to blame, Dedra Miro, since she's basically responsible for what the things going on. Arguably, covering his own tracks, but also partly covering his own tracks, but also punishing her, if you will. So, but yeah, declaring that they keep the body there for now, but they need to like make their move, and see Dedra Miro quarantined in a Dedra Miro quarantined in like an Imperial ISB room, if you will, interrogation room, where Director Krennic has come to interrogate her, and he is not happy because basically telling her why is she here, and she tries to justify things, but it's like she knows that he's here because of like the whole Death Star and the fact that all the information that she has basically gathered in an attempt to like find access, if you will, has taken information that she should not have had. She may have not looked at it, but she took it, and it's been linked. Luthen Rail start accusing her of being in cahoots with Lonnie, if you will. She denies this. Talks about tries to justify her being a scavenger, if you will, when he accuses that, but it's like trying to find like access, and then talks about how they need to find the assistant, but Krennic is not happy, furious with her that the info has been leaked and that the Death Star, might be compromised, has locked up here and is going to like pursue like the spies, get the other ISBs to pursue the spy themselves, leaving her out of this as she seems to realize that she's basically gotten herself in a lot of trouble, if you will. So but yeah, anyway, you've got like And then you've got like Hart let's see, at the hospital with the security camera guy trying to get as much information as can, trying to find Raf. I can't keep pronouncing her name. Oh yeah, here we go. Kayla, if you will. I keep saying let's see, Kayla, if you will. He's getting the camera. He's trying to say what he can and cannot, let's see, access. Tries to say about he's got a cousin that's trying to apply, but he's just like threatening him. It's like, let's see, then let him not to waste my time. They eventually identify Kayla as like the one person, as they fear as it might have been at least 3 earlier, but nope, it's actually her. As we see that Kayla is trying to in the safe house that Andor lived with Bix for a while, is trying to get some radio contact, which back at the Rebel base, we see that Bix is still with his Gorman Rebel girlfriend, if you will. She tells him that she heard this sort of a radio thing in which Bix, Willman realizes that it's Luthen calling, and he ends up goes to Andor, who's with Roscoe Mellish here, and K2SO here, as they are, let's see, playing, I think, Sabak or some sort of gambling game, if you will. Probably Sabak, if you will. So let's see, Game of Chips, basically. They are, let's see with KS2 usually seem to win, but apparently game 863 times and is human behavior, but let's see, they play a bit of playful banter to confuse him, if you will. So but yeah, and this is where Bix comes to inform Andor that they've got a signal from Luthen Rail and that he's calling for help. Let's see, telling Willman to stay here as he and let's see KS2 and let me just get the name up. Melashi. So they're going to go and find Luthen. Meanwhile, you have let's see, Krennic and basically Leo Patagaz, the head of ISB, and Hart discussing let's see, to find let's see, Luthen Rail's assistant Kayla, if you will, but he's he's wondering what to do with Leo Patagaz, just telling that in order to make the search, let's see, justified to the public, they will leak it out that she's carrying a very fatal disease that could kill thousands, so she needs to be quarantined and all that stuff. So which well, basically Krennic agrees to, but warns Patagaz that this time who let's see, he will not be able to save him if from the Emperor's wrath, when he tries to say that the leaks will probably already happen and they already be delayed, dismissing the whole Tarkin stuff from earlier, but that Tarkin says the same things. But basically, he's warning Patagaz that he's next if they don't actually find Luthen's assistant, which so this raises the stakes as Kayla is basically waiting for Andor, if you will, while him and the group are heading, let's see. So yeah, they're basically heading off to that after using the U-wing starfighter. Let's see, but when they took the U-wing ship, and basically the general here is not happy. Let's see, he is mad that Andor's gone off for let's see, Luthen Rail, to go find Luthen Rail, thinking that he might compromise Yavin's location, though you've got, well, basically Willman justifying it, saying how it's none of this would have happened without Luthen, and if he's in danger, they need to help him, but he's been quarantined. You got Luthen, let's see, Meleshi and K2SO, let's see, arriving at Coruscant, where we learn a little bit of KS2's backstory, where he was like once with a bunch of 100,000 of his types of KX droids, where they were in like a parade, and you even had like Palpatine there for apparently or something. But like when talking about Coruscant, showing like he still remembers his time as an Imperial droid. So yeah, they arrive on Coruscant, and during like this whole thing, Dedra Miro is talked to with Hart as like finding like the information. He's a bit desperate now and tries to persuade her to like help him. She thinks that why at first reluctant to do so, but gets persuaded that okay, this is probably the only chance she has of getting any sort of like released from her current predicament, and then talks about how hold on, let me just get up. I'm just trying to remember. Like knows how the rebels thinks, and that's like she's going to call for help, and that they need to scan for possible transmissions. Which so you have Hart basically getting like some of the ISB that are there at the art museum. Let's see, trying to scavenge whatever they can of the technology. They get this sort of radio thing that between Andor's team and Kayla, if you will, as they start to prepare with like with an ISB team, as Leo Padgas is sort of leading it from like those communications while he's on the front with like troops when they're wearing sort of like ISB armor, if you will. Anyway, Andor finally finds Kayla learns that Luthen is dead, tries to confirm like the information that they had, tries to get her to try and come to him with Andor, but she seems reluctant because she knows how the people of Yavin feel about Luthen. But eventually, seems like he's able to persuade her. But while this is going on, the ISB, led by Hart and this big tall guy, I will admit, I don't know his name, but about to storm the building. They end up getting the wrong apartment first. So I think that's part of like how that was designed by Luthen and I guess Kayla to make sure that this room isn't caught first, if you will, an elderly couple, and then they head off. But KS2O sees what's going on and then starts taking out some of the ISB guys that are outside the place before heading in, ready to try and rescue Andor as that episode ends. I'll admit, this episode you basically sort of need to like watch this and the next one straight after, because it's like quite the cliffhanger to end on. But yeah, I very much enjoyed this episode. I don't know if it's as strong as like the first episode, but nevertheless it's still pretty good. Basically it's all sort of falling apart with like for the ISB, if you will, as the information Luthen Rael is basically Luthen Rael is let me find the character. Luthen Rael is dead. They don't really have a source at the moment that they fully know of, except for like this like possible kidnappers who possible agents, that more than one that has probably taken him out and to make sure that he's safe, so they don't know who they're exactly looking for. I do like how he's threatening the sort of hospital director when he tries to intervene and all that stuff, as he's not really taking it well. But yeah, but basically the one that is in the most trouble is Dedra Miro, as due to her punt. I do like how her sort of like, oh, we've got Universal saying hello, going like, how are you today? I am fine. I meant to try and review this episode late last night, but I kind of fall half asleep midway, and it's like too late to actually finish it. So I ended up watching the last episode this morning, and now I am basically reviewing the show to give my final thoughts just before I have to head off somewhere. So yeah, I'm basically doing all that. Let's see, now on like the final episodes of Andor, so I'm just sort of giving my thoughts, particularly now at the moment the fact that Dedra Miro here, has played her hand too much. She managed to bend the rules and go on far in some places, but clearly now she's finally, unfortunately cost things by the fact that she's now been the one partly that began the leak of the Death Star, which is the most secure, which is the biggest secret in the Empire in terms of military projects. And of course, Iskra ends up getting her the fury of of course, which I do like how you've got like Krennic here, who is furious because it's like this compromises the whole thing, and who might have had a good relationship with her and to Gorman, but furious that she played her hand, and now that the rebels are either accusing her of being a rebel spy or an incompetent one, clearly having her take the fall, if you will. Which is partly basically true in some regards, but also trying to cover his own tracks, if you will. And it's basically, had enough of her. She has played her hand and she is screwed, which her own ambitions have come to her end, if you will. And now she's basically a prisoner, and that the only hope that she has now to save her own skin is when she is forced to tell Hart that what is likely Kayla is likely to do and all that stuff, and that she's likely to get help and trying to say, all right, I'll tell you information. She has no bargaining, basically. She's now a prisoner that is likely, depending on how this operation takes place, is either Britzy only has like a small chance of being saved, but is most likely screwed regardless. But yeah, she only has this one small chance. Oh, and he goes like, I like parts of Andor too. Yes, if I recall. Saying all the Dedra character scenes were must-seen. Yeah, I agree. Perfectly acted, perfectly written. True. And it's like Luthen's definite scene. Yeah, I talked about that in earlier in the review, if you're not heard. But yeah, that was quite a good death scene. So yeah, I do like that. But anyway, I do like how, despite the fact that Hart is now a bit desperate himself and has to but of course there's being no nonsense with the security thing and Britzy jokes that either security cam does, saying, "Oh, my cousin is plied" and all that stuff, or to see this ISB female that's trying to find what she can, though talk about taking it away, but saying no, we need to do this now, if you will. He's desperate, if you will, and even willing to talk to Miro just to try and make sure his skin is saved. Even sort of struggling to okay, how can they justify doing a manhunt for Kayla? All that stuff, but yeah, and then has to take the ground himself with a bunch of ISB troops, which you don't really think that this guy would be more suited for, but it's why you have the big guy, I get, the big ISB guy there. But yeah, but basically, it's not just him that's in trouble, but as Krennic is basically telling Patagaz that he is next in line for the Empire's fury. I do like that, and he's realizing that, oh, I need to move fast. Now, I do like how he's manages to come up with a pretty clever cover story of Kayla's diseased, we need to go after her, sort of cover from the public, but that's as far as praise he gets from Krennic, and it's he knows that if he doesn't get Kayla, and stop this leak from the Death Star happening, he is likely to be the one to feel the wrath next. So yeah, I do like how basically we're seeing how all these ISB things, they may have played their security in games, if you will, for power, but finally someone with more higher authority like Krennic, who himself will be dismissed down by Tarkin and Vader down the line, is punishing them, if you will, for these leaks. So yeah, even though I do like how he tries to defend himself, saying that it's amazing that the Death Star was kept for as long as it was. So I do like that. So yeah. Oh, we've got Universal saying, I also immensely all scenes with Ciro Khan. Yeah, though granted Ciro's not in this episode, so it's not much to talk about. Let's see. Okay, Universal saying, unfortunately not many viewers watched Andor 2 as Andor 2 had low viewership. It's their loss. They did some good parts, and they must see characters such as Dedra and Cyril. Really? I'm a bit surprised, because from my understanding, the viewership was a much better. And I think you even talked about how it was in the top 10 for a few of those episodes, if I recall. But yeah, I do. It is unfortunate there are those that refuse to watch it. Part of this I can probably see if due to some of the Star Wars fans' debates where the more pro-Andor ones just praise the show quite well, saying this is the best since the original trilogy or the best thing that Disney's ever done. and all that stuff. No, all the best thing ever with Star Wars. And then just saying how everything else is, well, bad that came before and all that stuff, minus the original trilogy, of course. So they've got some fans sort of like back fractions of fandoms, depending on which shows they like, let's see, or what they like, maybe not watching it because of how some fans behave. I think that's how I see it. I mean, not necessarily fair, but I do say that I do think that has, let's see, had some sort of effect on the show. Or something like Andor doesn't feel like your standard like type of thing that you would see in Star Wars, but yeah. But never mind. But I'll get more to that down the line, if you will. But yeah. Anyway, I love how let's see. Bix is. I mean, Willman here is still in his sort of relationship with I guess the sort of Gorman rebel here, and Getsy, she's the one that actually found like the thing and talked to a woman about it. Curious of what it is, but woman, let's see, make sure she's left out of it, just so that and realizes, okay, no, it is going to be like it is at, let's see, needs to go to Andor, and it's very much the one that's arguably the biggest defender of Luthen the entire episode, insisting that let's see, I've kept the radio, let's see, working to the, and it's like Luthen needs help. Wants to go to, I guess, save Luthen, but is told to stay here, and even defends Luthen against sort of like let's see, the rebel general, and we kind of see how people outside that know Luthen, who may either be supportive of these mixed feelings on know the good part, but those that don't really know him, like General Darvin, are not exactly fond of Luthen, and not even a bit annoyed that, let's see, the rebel base might be compromised because of some, let's see, call that Luthen did. But yeah. Anyway, I do like how in the episode you've got Resko Maleshi, who's seems to become the like part of like Andor's group, since they're like, let's see, they were both fellow prisoners with KS2, and they're sort of like a sort of trio, if you will. They sort of like work together and all that. And let's see, and they along with KS2 like do some free time where they're playing let's see, chips and gambling, if you will. KS2 seems to be pretty good at winning, but let's see, they're able to like play games with him, mind games with him, if you will. But then I do like how also KS2 is just basically like protesting about not receiving orders, and like how many times they've caused trouble, and which is amount to apparently 18 times of not following orders, which is funny. But Andor is, of course, like first reluctant to go, but then realized that, okay, Luthen, let's see, it's serious, and tries to find let's see, Luthen and Kayla, if you will. I do like how he is basically the one that despite his relationship with Luthen, is willing to try and, let's see, complicate relationship with Luthen, is able to find and even try and persuade Kayla to come with him, and just like to get the information, knowing that it not just needs to be him, it needs to be her that tells the rebels about what this information about a super weapon that let's see, Luthen died for. So yeah. Oh, we've got a new person here called let's see, Radford Rahman, who has a wilted rose. I'm not sure what that emoji is implying. Let's see, is that where I'm let's see going on, or am I going too on about my thoughts here or something? I'm not sure, but hello at the very least. But yeah, I do like how despite the fact that you've got I really should turn off these alarms. Sorry. Let's see, where was I? Oh yeah. You've got let's see, Keller here, who, despite the fact, knows that let's see, need to like evacuate and all that stuff and take out Luthen. They're still quite attached to Luthen, and it's like at first is a bit reluctant to go to Yavin, where she knows how everyone there at least the higher ups there feels about Luthen, and doesn't really think like, okay, just let's see, you go back to Yavin and she'll either stay here or find her own way off the planet. But is eventually, of course, persuaded that no, this is like, you got to see what you built with Luthen and like all the sacrifices and all that stuff. Just before the ISB here goes, But yeah, other than that, I do like how you've got like let's see, KS2O, if you will, staying guard with like the ship, but then of course taking action when he realizes that Andor might be in trouble from the ISB, which you've seen that might be told, seen from the movie, that he might be told to like stay put, but let's see, when he thinks that when he thinks or sees that there's trouble brewing, he will go to rescue, of course, his buddy Andor. So yeah. Overall, I'd say this episode maybe I'd say might be the weakest of the 3 episodes, and not as good as the first one, but let's see, and maybe a bit of a very suspenseful cliffhanger just when things were getting good. But then again, it's still pretty good of setting up like what's going on with like the ISB being desperate to like desperate to try and find let's see, Luthen Rail's assistant, trying to make sure that the Death Star's not compromised. Krennic furious with Dedra Ramiro. Let's see, and then warning Patagaz, Dedra Ramiro's mentor, that he might be next if they fail. Let's see, Dedra Ramiro having just in prison, being forced to try and help her rivals, try and catch. Let's see, Kayla. Otherwise, let's see, she might be screwed herself. And then, of course, you've got like Andor and his buddies, let's see, going to try and rescue Luthen, let's see, and trying to persuade Kayla to come with them and all that stuff. So, yeah, overall, I think it's a pretty decent episode. My overall score for this one, I think it's 8.5 to 9. Yeah, depending on my mood, I think at the moment I'd probably put it as 8.5. Maybe in a bit more, maybe 9 in some regards, but yeah, it's either my score will flow between those. So yeah, overall, that's the end of the episode. So now I'm now going to give my thoughts on the 12th, 24th or final episode of Andor, if you will, in which basically let's see, begins where it basically left off, I think, of Kayla Andor, Rascot Milishi and Andor, waiting in the room as the ISB led by Heart of like infiltrate the thing. You kind of got like Melishi coming out first before heading back in. You've got like a stun grenade in which seemingly wounds and knocks out Kayla here, but you got KS2 coming in, taking out all the ISB troopers, if you will. Even using brutally using Heart as a shield after killing him and all that stuff, and clears the path for like Andor to escape, hoping that he has earned Andor's trust, which he's just talking about let's just get out of here and all that stuff. Though maybe he seems to imply some thank you. I can't quite recall exactly, but let's see. But yeah, either way, you've got like this sort of like relationship. They escape as during this time you see Leo Partagaz here, who's basically trying to communicate when the communication's all taken down from last episode from like the ship, because KS2 took out all the guys, smashing a guy's face on the comms, tries to get as many of the ISB units they can there, but they are unfortunately, due to his plan of like telling that they need to quarantine the area because of the disease thing, they're all out doing that. And they arrive too late, just as Andor's group is leaving, and he's like realizing that he's basically failed and screwed at this point. In which, you've got Mon Mothma and Bail Organa. Bail Organa, and I guess General Dardarvan. General Dardarvan here, arguing with Saul Guerrero on on Saw Gerrera on the hologram to see on about his actions of Jeddah, if you will. Them telling him to try and leave, but he's insisting of staying, and they're trying to say trying to be help him, but he's refusing. As you can see, the hostility that Saw Gerrera has with the Rebel Alliance leadership, if you will, and all that stuff. But they get informed that Andor and his team have arrived, if you will, and Dodavan. He tells them to ask who else all is there. As you see, our 4 characters of KS2, Kayla, and Militia are out of the bridge building. Andor telling earlier, I think, promising Kayla Hill's welcome, but they're all being quarantined. He's been told to stay behind the ship. KS2 is, or at least by the docking bay. KS2 basically to turn off the ship and then turn off himself. Kayla taken to a medical bay, while Andor here is told to be taken to the Rebel Council, where we see that characters like Radis there and some of those senators that we saw in Rogue One, the ones that were this woman here and this dude here were protesting about trying to send troops to Scarif to try and take out the Death Star, saying that the rebellion is sort of finished, if you will. They're not happy about them, and Bail are not exactly happy of Andor breaking protocol and all that stuff, and they're asking about Luthen, which Andor reveals that it seems like my viewers are gone, that Luthen is dead, which of course shocks the people there, particularly Mon Mothma, who has had a bit of a complicated relationship with Luthen herself. He tries to persuade them that he's dead, but he's gotten some intel on the fact that apparently about his ISB spy revealing that they have built sort of a super weapon, if you will, and but unfortunately they don't have enough evidence and proof about it, that they are not entirely suspicious about it, and their own suspicions of Luther think it might be possibly an Imperial trap, despite the fact that Andor tries to protest, saying how none of this rebellion would have been here without Luthen and all those things, and saying that if he died for this information, there must be it must be true. But it ends up being dismissed to his quarters, though he does request at the very least to see to go to the med bay, if you will. And Mon Mothma gives that access, if you will, as during the course of the episode, you see Andor talking to talking to Kayla and checking how she's doing, and talking about how what they started here, and Yavin. Even talking about I think granted this actually happened last episode about you're done from the fight and stuff, but yeah, there's sort of talk about Luthen, if you will. Let me just check some things, of making sure I've gotten some information right. Yeah. So they talk about and then you get between Mon Mothma, Mon Mothma here, and the talking with Bail in the council, but she then goes to Vale, who also has her own complicated her cousin Val, who has also had her own complicated history with Luthen informing her that she's dead and that Kayla's here, and she wants her to go to Andor and get the information and confirm the information that he says about Luthen is true, which she of course goes and ends up talking to Andor. They have a toast to their fallen comrades from that we know from previous episodes that lost their lives. Talking about what Luthen and as well as Luthen and what the information he has, and he's she seems to be convinced of what is going and see what happens. She also tries to tell him to get in touch with Bix again, but Andor decides that now is not like the right time, and as long as she's safe, she's fine. Seemingly accepted that she's left, and that he needs to do his mission first before coming back to her. And let's see, she also you get Val meeting with Kayla in the rain and outside in the rain, treating her and talking to her about Luthen and all that stuff and what they started here. Eventually going back to Mom to confirm like the sources. Meanwhile, General Darvin gets some information, if you will, about how I think apparently the spy informant, I believe, the character, what was it? Calfrain to meet the informant that we see in Rogue One, saying that he only talked to like Andor, and with her and Mon Mothma persuade Bail Organa that the information is true, and actually he sort of tells Andor later down the episode that he has permission to go and find him. Meanwhile, while you've got all that, you've also have let's see, I'm trying to remember what else. Largaret with Leo Patagaz, who was listening to like the sort of like, I'm trying to remember his name. You know, the young sort of rebel from like let me just get the let's see, Nakafat. No, let's see. Nemec and his sort of like rebellion manifesto speech about how the rebellion is spreading all that stuff, with Patcast realizing that, well, let's see, Patagast realizes that the rebellion, or his attempts to quash rebellion, has failed, and that let's see, Largaret here has been told that he's been tells him that he's been tasked with like retrieving him to like their superiors, if you will. But he tells Largaret that he needs a minute to give his thoughts, which I think Largaret seems to understand what he's doing, as he gets a gun, shoots himself as he's outside, stopping the stormtroopers from coming and saving from checking out the scene, as he knows what has just like happened. But yeah, you've also got like a rebel informant associated with Saw. Also, that's a rebel. Yeah, that's the rebel informant that Darvin, I've forgotten, that is it's apparently with Saw is begging to be in contact with Andor. I'm not sure if it's the sort of Imperial pilot that defects in Rogue One, or just basically let's see, it might just be the one from the planet I'm telling. But yeah, Andor is basically now preparing to leave with KS2O to their mission, to the beginning of Rogue One, as KS2, as he's now more happy that they've got an idea of where they're going, as you see a montage of the characters, Kayla watching, recovering from like her wounds, seeing the sort of rebellion that she and Luthen have, have helped start, if you will. Wellman, Melashi training a bunch of troops, that especially like that one alien you see in the group of Rogue One. Preparing now. Eventually join the Rogue One crew, if you will. Training, if you will. Val with Mon Mothma eating at a let me just get it. Mon Mothma eating at a sort of rebel table, preparing for like the daily lives in the rebellion, if you will. And Wellman enjoying time with his girlfriend here, if you will, while we learn that the dead Ramiro has basically been, hold on, let me just find it. Dead Ramiro has basically been locked up in a sort of similar prison that we saw from the prison arc in season season one's prison arc, if you will. Let's see Betsy facing the consequences of her actions, and the episode ends with the farm world that we saw in the first arc of the season, where we see hold on, B2EMO, let's see, enjoying the farm life, where we see some of the farmers and playing with a new droid friend, if you will, and we then cut to like the episode ends with Bix walking across the farm, if you will, and as you can see, she's holding a baby, revealing it to be like she seems to have been pregnant and had gave birth to like Andor's child. As they watch on the skies, arguably Pop's waiting for Andor, not realizing that she'll never see Andor again because of the events of Rogue One and the sacrifices he does. Sort of like ending the episode, if you will. So yeah, that is the end of the episode. So now my overall thoughts. I might have been a bit, I guess, all jumbled with like the summary here, but I try. Let's see, I just watch the episode and just trying to remember my thought. Let's see everything that happened. I will admit, but yeah. Overall, I will admit, I was at first disappointed when I first saw the episode. I thought like it felt a bit open-ended, but then again, I see second time watching, it's like, okay, this is the point. This is the episode that's leading to basically starting just before the events of Rogue One. So yeah, at least from Andor's perspective. So yeah, they've gotten like oh yeah, I suppose I forgot to mention throughout this episode and throughout these episodes, Galen Erso, Jen Erso's father has been mentioned, apart of like the Kyber crystals and all that stuff. So yeah, I forgot that little name. I do like how he's been mentioned quite a bit, but yeah. Anyway, I do like how you've got the action of the episode where Hart basically due to be on the front lines gets killed a very brutal death with K2SO grabbing him and then using him as a human shield, if you will. I liked that. But yeah, KS2 basically. Well, maybe that's one of the criticism you can have, is that KS2 seems a bit too invincible here, as we do eventually see, because he does eventually die from a bunch of blaster shots. But yeah, he is brutal of taking down Empire. In many ways, you see some Imperials getting their just desserts of like using his droids to kill civilians in Gorman, and now they themselves are getting killed by one of the strength of one of their own robots. So droids. So I do like that. I do like how he wants to be thanked for his efforts, but Andor's still being like the cold leader. Though granted, eventually he does get appreciated in the events of Rogue One. So yeah, I do like everything here with him. It's like KS2, KS2O. I've got enough action with him. It's like satisfying. Would I like to see more episodes with Andor and him on adventures? Arguably yes, but let's see. I think from what the show was reduced to like 2 seasons, I think we got what we needed. And who knows? At the very least, we can always get some comics and books, I guess, with like KS2 and Andor in like the last year outside of here. But yeah, I do like that. I like the sort of funny moment you have with, I guess, Rasko Milishiev walking out first and then coming back in when the ISB there. But unfortunately, he wasn't able to count the numbers that there were. But I do like how he's training the troops that would eventually join the Rogue One squad at the end. So I like that. Saw Gerrera, I will admit. I thought he was going to be a bit more active in the season, but it was only like one story arc and now only like one hologram conversation with Mon Mothma, where you can see the tension between them at the Rebel Council and him, but he's like refusing to leave Jeddah, if you will. So I do like that, but it's like he's basically there. Mm-hmm. I do like how throughout the episode, I like how that Val is basically how throughout the episode you have all these characters who are learning Luthen's death. Those are like complicated feelings, like Mothma and Val. Are still willing to trust what he might at least consider what he has to say is true and all that stuff. And I love that Val is being used by Mon Mothma to confirm it. Having her moments with like Andor missing like all the comrades that they've lost and all that stuff, but they're still about. And she basically taking care of Kayla and all that stuff, and confirming like the information. So I do like that. Wellman, I do like how they have like a bit of a moment between him and Andor, telling him that Luthen is dead, and he's like the most visibly distraught of it. But I do like that he seems to at least able to carry on with the relationship with the girlfriend that he has as they continue their lives in the rebellion. I like that we finally got to see Admiral Radis and see a part of like the council, if you will. He's of course a bit skeptical, but of course, push comes to shove, he will go to the fight. But yeah, I like that we got BM2 as a sort of like cameo in the end. It's like nice to at least see that the droid is still living life and it's like at least has one of the people that he cares about, Bix. So shame that he will never really get to see Andor again. Let's see. I didn't expect this droid to appear in the end, but he did. So yeah, Dedra Miro, let's see, she only really got that cameo at the end of The Prisoner. I think, let's see, this is fitting for her arc. She's like, all this, let's see, attempts to try and claim the glory and rise in the Imperial ranks. Her own mistakes, let's see, got her blamed, and she's now suffering a fate where she's in prison knowing that she has failed, basically. So yeah, I thought that was satisfying. I like, oh yeah, we also had the Force healer, a bit of a cameo at the end, watching Andor leave as realizing that he's about to take his destiny, if you will. So yeah, one last look of that. You got let's see, Han. I'll get more to him later. Who else? Oh yeah, Kayla. I do like enjoy that. Let's see, she's just like let's see, she's just recovering and just trying to take it all in and like wandering about, and it's until like the people she knows, let's see, assures her that she's finally able to come down at the end and see just what she and Luthen has built, and arguably ready to probably take a part in this new larger rebellion, if you will. I do like the sort of moments between Leo and Largret here, where basically let's see, Padgas is listening into that manifesto. let's see from damn, I keep forgetting the name. I am awful with names today. I apologize. Let's see, let me just find it again. I am Nemec. Nemec's manifesto, and he's like just listening to like how, let's see, how that's like how many have listed across the galaxy already. Just realize it, but the Imperials need for control is unnatural, and realizes that okay, it seems like they're right. It's happening. Let's see, what this guy's talking about, it seems to actually come true. It's gone beyond his control himself, and now he is about to face the consequences of like his failures. But I do like how he's really like realized, okay, there's no way out. There's only one thing left to do, and it's of course he decides to take his own life, not wanting to face the Emperor's wrath himself, if you will. Which I do like how it's like his like his last remaining subordinate has not either been killed or arrested, if you will, is giving him the moment to like take his own life, if you will. I'm curious to see if this guy will now be in charge of the ISB, because, well, basically, if that's the case, he's basically now going to inherit the mess of like the fallout of the events of Rogue One and A New Hope, and how the Imperials are like going to be in complete chaos afterwards with like the destruction of the Death Star. Arguably, at least that's my own theory at the very least. So yeah, it'll be curious to see if we learn more about his fate. But yeah. Anyway, I do like how you've got like the Rebel Council here, and you still see how frustrating that they can be of like dismissing Luthen Rail because like they don't personally like him, finding him a bit of a problem, if you will. But also, particularly like the two that you like Jyn Erso argued with. But I do like how you've got like, and even Ritzy surprisingly Bale is. But I do like how Mon Mothma knows Luthen Rail enough that okay, she needs to consider what he's telling is true, and wants to be convinced of this and all that stuff. So yeah. But I also do like how you've got like let's see, General Davin also being a bit Ritzy not trusting, but once he gets like that spy from Saw Gerrera informing, and that one informant about let's see, wanting to request Luthen, he's like, okay, this is true. We need to send them Andor. And I do like how but yeah, we'll admit, let's see, the guy who plays Bale is doing quite an excellent job. Granted, he's unfortunately played him in the one time I think we had like sort of against Bale when he's like against Luthen and Andor, but of course Luthen is a man of reason. He knows that, let's see, and he is of course good and all that stuff, and he knows that what the right thing to do is. But when he's like convinced enough that let's see, convinced that, well, okay, from Mon Mothma and General Darwin, it's like, okay, looks like there's enough to see truth there can't be a trap to Andor, and gives him the order himself and tells him to wish luck. I do like how Andor says that, you know, you and Luthen might have gone along if you got to know him and all that stuff, as they seem to be still in some regards, which in some ways they are true. Now, granted, Bale is a bit more morally good, morally less grey with Luthen, who's more willing to do more dirty things, but they're both Britzy rebel leaders and spies that were like playing the long term of taking down the Emperor. So yeah, but I do like to sort of like but it's like he's definitely a leader that, you know, that the rebellion can trust, and it's of course all the more sad that he ends up dying on Alderaan before he can help Leia. Leia help Leia and the other rebels do a full open fight with Mon Mothma and all that stuff. So yeah. Anyway, Andor himself, I do like how throughout the episode he's basically making sure that they escape the planet. Let's see, doing a bit of small talk, I guess, with Chaos too. Not really full on out thanking him, I guess, but more like just get us out of here. And is basically the character that is the most active in defending his actions of leaving the rebel base and trying to persuade the rebel council that if Luthen died for this information, then it's likely very like true about this super weapon, and then trying to assist and having those small moments with like let's see, Val, and just like saying that Bix is fine and all that. So it's like he seems to come to terms with like Bix leaving at this point. He's ready to do like the missions, if you will, and is ready to probably seemingly accepted like, okay, what this Force healer might be saying is true about a certain destiny or like certain events that he has a role to play in. So I do like that with Andor. And finally, which I will admit is arguably to me the biggest surprise, is the fact that well, it's granted I was wondering if we're going to see Bix again, but I was wondering if Bix is going to end up dying. But no, it turns out she's returned to the farm world, and she's actually had Andor's child. I thought we might have seen her do some rebel stuff, but no, she seems to have like, let's see, she's now had a child, so she's trying to keep the child safe, waiting for Andor and all that stuff. The sacrifice that she's done of making, unfortunately keeping Andor away from his child, in which, if Andor arguably knew that, but granted, I probably forgot to mention Andor, we had one last flashback of the sister. This is just Andor remembering it one last time, but from my understanding, the show, and I was thinking of doing something with it, but beside that, it best leave that remain incomplete, just so that Andor has some sort of motivation, which I think works. Let's see whether or not you got some legend, let's see, EU expanded universe story or comic about the sister down the line. Who knows? But that's just like something that, at the very least, Tony Gilroy will never answer. But yeah, but let's see, Bix has done a bit of sacrificing of, let's see, not staying behind with Andor and raising a family. Unfortunately, means that their child will never know the father. But let's see that the sacrifices that Bix and that Andor does, let's see, makes a better galaxy that Bix will get to live in with like their, let's see, child. I'm not sure if it's a son or daughter, but yeah. Granted, I think this episode ending with like might upset a few Jen Erso ex Cassian Andor shippers who thought maybe, let's see, they're canon, but it's like, no, this one character here has Andor's child, though granted he will never really know. So yeah, honestly, I think it's more of a like satisfying thing here. I think it's satisfying that many of the characters I mentioned aren't, let's see, dead, like let's see, Kayla, Wilman, Val, and Bix. They are living their lives in the rebellion or living their lives with like their loved ones, if you will. let's see, I think it's a bit fitting that they are like doing here, not realizing that Andor's is soon about to lose his life in the events of Rogue One. Will we ever see those characters again? Who knows? We're probably going to get some expanded universe material stuff with comics and books. Maybe they'll have cameos in other shows, maybe even animated ones. Who knows? We might see how they end up reacting to events of like Andor's death and all that stuff if we do. But yeah. But overall, at the very least, for now, they are living their lives in the rebellion. They don't need to be all wiped out like, say, the Jedi from the prequel trilogy and I guess Padme. I mean, granted, the only because only characters that are supposed to survive until the original trilogy events happen were alive in the prequels, as well, I guess, Jar Jar Binks, if you will. But yeah, but basically, these characters didn't need to die, and who knows whether or not they will interact with like either Star Wars Rebels characters or original trilogy characters down the line of expanded universe material. We don't know, but yeah. Overall, I'd say this was a very nice ending to like the series of Andor. It's a shame. Well, I would have probably liked it if we got like let's see, say let's see 5 seasons. I think at the very least we've gotten at least 24 very good Star Wars episodes, which I hope many people will end up watching down the line. And arguably makes me want to go watch Rogue One again at some point. But for now, I've got some other films I need to watch. But yeah, if I had to give a score for this episode, I'd say it's probably a 9 out of 10. A decent final. You got mainly action in the beginning, and then everything's setting up, closing with characters that we know throughout the show, throughout the mid thing, as well as trying to confirm the start, see what Luthen said about the secret weapon, and then everyone taking their place either before the events of Rogue One or just getting on with their lives, if you will. So yeah, overall, good episode, great show. It will be missed, but who knows? Maybe there'll be more shows like it down the line, though granted, from what I can tell, it's very expensive, so maybe not for a while, as I think Disney wants to get back to making Star Wars movies. But at the very least, I hope we do get more shows. At least one show like it now and then, and maybe like, of course, stuff with Mando. Like you got the super dark serious adult show, but you got also like the fun adventure shows like Mandalorian, Skeleton Crew, and the animated shows down the line. But of course, we'll probably be getting back to the movies soon. So yeah, overall, that's all my overall thoughts. Universal and Radford Ramen, thank you for your comments, though you seem to have disappeared halfway through the reviews, unfortunately. But I hope your comments were like enjoyable to have. I hope that see you again the next time I make some more Star Wars content, whenever that is. But for now, I am Blue Star Saber signing off. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye, and may the Force be with you.